Everyone, and welcome to step 2. Again, my name is Tim from Signage Live, and I'm going to take you through some of the steps you need to think about when getting started with your digital signage. I've taken us over here to the Signage Live marketplace today because it does have a range of the thing that we want to talk about, and that is content. When it comes to content, there are a whole variety of content types that you may be looking to deliver. Some of the more traditional types are things like images and videos. One of the most important questions and one of the most important features around digital signage is making sure that your content is up to date and refreshed regularly. Without that, your content will become stale and your users will stop, or your viewers will stop watching the content because they already know what's coming up. So keeping that content fresh is really pivotal. The question will be, where are you getting that content from? Is that coming from an in-house source? Are you doing that yourself? Or are you relying on a third party to do that? There are some great resources out there, some of which are actually on this marketplace from third parties such as SodaClick, SceneSpire, ScreenFeed, Post My Wall, when it comes to pulling in and ingesting things like social media that you've already got up and running, which is a great tool because A, you already have it, and B, you don't need to think about it, it will just update from those social media feeds. Or these services like SodaClick and Post My Wall, where they give you a whole host of images, videos, pre-prepared posters, pre-prepared images that you can go and grab and move around as you want. And that's really pivotal when you're thinking about content and how you're going to be managing that and how much time you want to dedicate to that. Some of the kind of more creative tools out there, the ones that are fully designed for creating content from scratch, like Creative Cloud or Photoshop or any of those tools and resources in there, can become quite costly and do take some training. Obviously, that does give you a higher level of functionality, or you may already have someone on staff who's familiar with these, so it's worth thinking about that in advance because it will make a big difference in terms of how much impact your digital signage has as a whole. That being said, do not feel like if you don't have all of these resources that you're stuck for content. There are a whole range of tools built into CMSs that are free, so things like clock and weather, event notifications, general notifications just on what's going on, menu designs, whatever it is that you're looking to display, there could be some free content in there for you. And the Signage Live marketplace, I know, already has some of those features built in. Now that's an overview of some of the content that are more basic and traditional. You also have some more kind of obscure items that may be of benefit to you. So things like IPTV input. If you're looking to display live TV, then IPTV will be a way of going about that. You can ingest that from certain services like YouTube, Twitch. You could have a look at it from IBM Video. There are a range of different platforms out there that display IPTV, and then you can ingest that just like you would do any other image or video asset on your platform. The other one that kind of coincides with that is, as I mentioned in the first video, HDMI input. So if you've got a HDMI input with live TV, that again is considered content, just of a different variety, even though it's traditionally just live TV. One of the cool ones that I wanted to bring up as well is HTML5 in general. So HTML5, obviously in most cases you can just display a web page, but HTML5 will allow you to create things like animation, maybe pull in some external data from sales analytics or from POS systems or whatever source you're looking for. Where HTML5 can become really powerful is it can be updated automatically from a data service. It can ingest things with motion and it can ingest things with different displays. Now, bearing in mind, you'll probably need some development to do that, whether that be, again, an internal resource if you have a HTML5 developer or an external resource if you hire someone to do that. The Signage Live Marketplace is actually all built from HTML5, but it's built in a packaged widget, which means it continues to run offline. So it's the best of both worlds when it comes to HTML5, editable content that you can build out, versus it continuing to run offline. When you're displaying something like a web page or an IPTV stream, it's worth bearing in mind because these are, in essence, live pieces of content that aren't stored locally on your screen. If you unplug the Ethernet or the internet goes down for long enough, that will most likely go offline. Something to bear in mind when you're thinking about the content that you're going to run. So, when you're looking at your content, what do you need to be looking at for yourself? Well, if you are small, local, couple of screens, and you're just looking to run some images or videos, that's absolutely fine. Considering your screen size, considering the size of your assets, and the hardware that you've picked. If you're looking at a more high level or more kind of technologically advanced digital signage with HTML5, moving with motion, moving with potentially images and videos all around those, then you need to bear in mind that you've got to have enough CPU, you've got to have enough power coming from those devices that you've picked. And again, going back to video 1, that will be something that you have to think about once you've decided the content that you're going to go with. I always suggest thinking of the most extreme example of what you're going to be doing in the next 3 or 5 years, because if you get to that point, you don't want to go and change your hardware from that later on. So bearing that in mind as you're going through this process. What is the most we want to pull from content? What could be our most extreme scenario? And there is no right or wrong, and there is no limitation. So you may potentially actually say, well, these screens on this location, or these 5 screens that we've got a reception, aren't ever really going to be too advanced. But we may want to invest a little bit more in our hardware when we've got 2 or 3 kind of centerpiece pieces or big digital signage video walls, for example, that need to run some more extreme content. Feel free to reach out to us more about content because there is a whole variety out there, but that should give you a good overview of where to begin. More or less, most of the traditional digital signage these days does just have images and videos, but this is becoming more and more prominent, so think about that as we go into the future of digital signage and what you want to be prepared for. Next video we're going to be talking about is, to us, one of the core pieces, which is the content management system, or the CMS, that will be delivering that content from your players to, from the cloud to your players, wherever you may be. So again, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks very much for watching the video, and I'll speak to you soon.